Hello, you guys. Welcome to the Woman's Cave. Yes, I took Winona's line.
I'm still like 3 hours behind, so I'm still on Vegas.
Yeah, I'm doing a dance.
By the way, we were on WCOMB TV. Check us out. I'm sorry, I was distracted because this chick is doing a dance. That's what I do.
No.
This is my thing.
No, see, I'm taking your stuff today. So I took it.
Really?
I took it. Yep, doing a dance.
No,
gotta do a dance.
You should just go ahead and do the robot.
You know what? I'm not that old. I don't know how to do it.
Oh. Anyway.
I'm Jade.
And I'm Winona.
And we are the co-authors and co-founders of the And I Thought Ladies in the And I Thought series. Yeah, I got her real bad on that one, you guys. It was hilarious.
Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So yes, so we wrote a series of books, the And I Thought series. And I Thought Divorce Was Bad with Other Life Lessons. And I Thought Being Grown Up Was Easy. Do not touch my set. And I thought I could juggle it all. And I Thought I Did My Journey Alone. And then there's a new one that Winona loves to talk about.
And I Thought I Had It All Figured Out, which is a fiction, and it is a pilot episode of a television show, and that Alexis Rose and I wrote together, and we decided to, instead of trying to shop it, why don't we make it book number 6? So we made it book number 6. And February, end of February, beginning of March, we will have And I Thought He Was the One. I know people we have been promising.
We have been
June of last year.
We've been promising it for a really long time. But you guys know it's going to be worth the wait because we've gotten so many more ladies that wrote on the book. And hopefully you might be able to drag a couple of men in there. So that will be exciting. But you guys aren't here to hear about us. Oh, all of our books are available on andwethought.com, amazon.com, barnesandnobles.com. You guys aren't here to hear about us. You're here to hear about our wonderful guests.
Yes, Mr. Wonderful Guest, would you like to introduce yourself before you get bored and fall asleep?
Yes, I am Wonderful Guest, also known as Richard Keller. I am the owner of Wooden Pants Publishing in Media. I am an audiobook narrator. I'm an editor. I'm a blogger. And I am host of currently 2 podcasts, to be 3 podcasts starting in February.
Nice.
You have 3 podcasts?
Okay.
I do.
The names of
Yes.
All right. So we have The Daily Author, which you fine ladies were on. That is my Monday through Friday show of all things literary. And then I have the Leap podcast, which is on once a week on Thursdays. And the Leap podcast focuses on people who have made either creative or life leaps or even thought process leaps to change their lives. And then in February, we have The Frustrated Entrepreneur. And this one focuses on entrepreneurs who will tell their stories about lessons learned, the frustrations that they've had, the successes that they've had, and hopefully give entrepreneurs out there a sense of how they can go about their lives. And this is connected to a book that I'm hoping to release in the spring, as well as a GoFundMe account for to help raise funds for the book as well as for entrepreneurs.
Wow. It sounds like I'm going to be narcissistic because that's who I am. I'm sorry.
Welcome to Winona.
Or if you've been viewing regularly, you know how this goes. Anyway, it sounds like I could be on all 3 shows. Thank you.
Yes.
I'm joking.
And by the way, I love me and I adore me as well. So
there you go.
See, I know.
There we go.
And you could.
I don't know how we're fitting.
You could be on all 3 shows, actually. That's the thing. There's a good, it mixes a lot. Those podcasts really mix a lot. Where I focus on the art of writing on The Daily Author, The Leap, and The Frustrated Entrepreneur, and more of the background, how people have reached where they have reached. The Daily Author is more of the, okay, now I've reached that part, here's what I do type of stuff. So it's kind of a progression almost.
So I actually like the idea of the frustrated entrepreneur because so many people jump into entrepreneurship and they're like, well, by next year this time, which is hilarious for me to say because I just wanted to do this before Jay did it. But by next year this time, I'm going to have this, and this done, or I'm going to have these goals met. And then something happens and then it kind of trips up and you get mad. And to know that somebody else out there, this isn't just you, is going to be great. The reason Jade would laugh is because I told her that at the end I thought ladies didn't do anything in 3 months. I was letting it go.
Mm-hmm.
And 3 months came by and I said, I'm letting it go. But by that time, like we had like more mentors and stuff. So I couldn't let it go. And
Well,
1 year and now we're here. And
I have to, when the goal setting, I have to go because I was in the same boat. And in fact, I'll own something up. At the very end of last year, it was probably the lowest point in the frustration process. I mean, I was not paying bills. The holidays were coming up, and something happened with a person I was connected to who was supposed to be my mentor, and I made a mistake. I screwed up. I let her really put some pressure on me so that I started panicking, and it did not work as an entrepreneur. So now I'm crawling back out one, ladder rung at a time to get things back to where they are. And I have to do it. There's no other choice. And as an entrepreneur, you can't say, well, I'll give it 6 months and that'll be it, because it can take much longer than 6 months to do it. I mean, it could take a year. It could take 2 years. You have to push through. That's all you can do.
Thank you so much for saying that. I say it all the time. And fortunately, Nona, we have been very, very blessed in what we've got to get done. And it's very nice to be able to sit here. Maybe we're not the most successful entrepreneurs, but we are entrepreneurs anyway.
Right.
I think we kind of got it because my mother, she left me a business, and then her mother had a business and she retired. So the two of us have always had businesses to run. Yeah. So it's kind of like, it's just taking on another business. And that to us is like life.
It is life. It is life. And, people say, I went from my 9 to 5 to entrepreneurship. And I said, how did that go? Because I went from entrepreneurship to 9 to 5, and I was so bored. I fell asleep almost every day.
I don't understand.
I was like, because I get it all done, and then there's nothing to do. And right. I'm like, I can't go home. Oh yeah, that's right.
I owe you hours.
Right. That's the thing with me. I was in the corporate world for 25 years. I mean, I was in the IT world for that long, and it didn't work out. I mean, I jumped from job to job, and at the very last job, I was just phoning it in. I couldn't do it anymore because for creative people, mm-hmm. your soul and your heart is screaming out to do stuff that's creative. And if it's not, and if you're sitting there in a 3-wall cubicle and answering questions, about a product, that's not creativity. And you can really get down on that. So yeah, I took the risk and I sacrificed, and parts of it haven't worked out, parts of it have, but I'm glad I did it, because then I can do things like this with you. And at a certain point in time, if I need to take a rest, I don't have to hide in the bathroom and take a nap. I can, take a nap here, and exactly. I can just push through as many hours as I need to.
Exactly. And the thing is, like, when you have a passion, even if you want to take a nap, but you got things done, there are times where you go like, I'll just push through another 20 minutes and then I'll just shorten my nap. And when I wake up, I'll get this stuff.
Right. Exactly.
Working with your body is probably the most productive way of working anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Corporations want to catch up with that. That would be great. If you recognize most entrepreneurs do like 80 hours a week, but they do it at their own time and their own pace, but they also make the most amount of success out of everything. Mm-hmm. Hey, corporations, if you could learn from that, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, think about how much we get done.
Sure.
Because some people are very morning people. Like, they will get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and be ready to go and do work until like 2, and then they're done.
Mm-hmm.
You're forcing them to do a 9 to 5. Well, you're getting productivity, and then at 2 o'clock, they're like, and I'm done.
Too sad.
Right. So some people are what they are. And I am a mid-morning person.
Mm-hmm.
Midnight to 6 a.m. is my hours.
It's very funny because we're really good friends, and so I'm a mid-morning person. I like to go to bed at 8:30. I'm a boring person, you guys. It is what it is.
We were in Vegas, and she wanted to be in bed at 8:30.
I did.
Like, what?
I did. And Winona was like, I excuse your life. You're gonna go out. We're gonna
I should probably get to a more good point of like, how'd you start?
Yeah, how did you start? I mean, How did you come up with podcasts? Why?
Oh, well, that was because I was doing something with a writing group, and I was listening to shows like The Creative Pen and some other podcasts that featured authors, and I felt, why aren't we doing something like this to bring people to our group, to draw the attention to them? So I started the podcast for them in 2015, and we did a weekly podcast where I featured authors not only from the group but also outside of that, and that's where it started. Now, I was a journalism major.
Oh, nice.
That really helped me to push the way I interviewed out there. So instead of yes, no questions, it was a lot of declarative statements and who, what, when, where, why, just to get the people to really open up. And it was great because every time they said, "Oh, that's a really good question," it's like, "Oh, yeah, good. I found a good question for them." Same thing, when I do improv and you get a good laugh or applause, it's like, "Oh, I did something really right." So I did that for about a year and a half, and then things changed, and I felt, well, I don't want to do it for this organization anymore. I want to do it for myself.
Right.
So the first thing I did was to do the Leap podcast because it was connecting to me as a person who made that creative leap from corporate world into publishing. Even though I had been writing previously, this was the full-time effort. So I wanted to talk to other people, even normal people who had done those types of things and gone on. So, for example, I interviewed a person I went to high school with who was a corporate guy, and he went back to school and he ended up being a history professor. And someone who worked for Soap Opera Digest who turned out, and she decided to work on her own and moved from New Jersey to Florida. And then I thought, well, I want to get back into the world of authorship and, talk to those people. And but I wanted to do it a little differently, where they talk to people on a weekly basis or maybe twice a week. I wanted to go on a daily basis. I didn't want to do John Lee Dumas, who runs Entrepreneurs on Fire, and he does a 7-day-a-week thing. I don't think I could handle that. But I wanted to do something, 5 days a week. And so that's what the Daily Author came about, because I took a lot of the shows I had from a live program I do every other Sunday called the Between the Pages, and then also I put that on the Daily Author as well as bringing other authors in. So right now as we record this, we're at episode 88. It'll be episode 88 today, and I'll be up to the 100s in another 2-3 weeks.
Oh my goodness! Are you going to do like a giveaway for when you get to your 100th episode, or how are you going to celebrate?
I don't know. That's a good thing. I might have to do that.
Oh, you got to celebrate. You might want to take a 2-hour nap.
The problem with 2-hour naps is you can't do anything for the rest of the day. You're gone. If you take like a 20-30 minute nap, you're good. But if you go 2 hours, you're like, I'm out. I might as well just go to bed for the rest of the day.
Exactly. Or you could always do that whole that's it. I'm going to take a hotel day off.
Right.
Just for me. But I want to know how you write books as well.
I do. Yes.
So how did you go from writing to publishing?
Well, it was. Sorry, I'm rubbing my hands with cream because Colorado weather is very dry and easily. So
we have friends from Colorado, and they always complain about the fact that we drink our weather, no matter if it's in the winter, the summer, or the spring. There's way too much water in the water.
Yeah, right. We get it very dry. So when I came to Colorado, I've always been a writer. I've been writing since third grade. I've been a professional writer since I've been 16 years old. And when I came to Colorado, there's something here that draws the creativity out of me. And I
want to make a joke, right?
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, you live in Colorado. Is this a recent creativity? Because I think a couple years ago, y'all made a law.
No, I'm not involved in that portion. No, I've always been creative. I've always loved to do creative stuff. I was a writer. I mean, I wrote my first like fiction thing in third grade. I sent out my first short story when I was 12 years old. I've always done it, but there was always something in my head. It was a lot of doubt, and it was a lot of other people coming to me and saying, you can't do this. You need to have a stable job, which is a lot of crap.
It's true. Mm-hmm.
So when I came here, there was an organization that got me going. I went to their writing, their convention, their conference, the writing conference, and that led to a critique group. And I already had stories, and I had put that story together. And eventually it all came out into a book and a couple of books. So I decided I got that book out. I won a contest. It was called Paradise Not Quite Lost. It's humorous science fiction. And they were going to publish it, but then the whole thing fell apart. And I requested my rights back. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to do this again. I'm not going to go out and chase these people. I'm going to do it on my own. Mm-hmm. So in 2014, I started Wooden Pants Publishing, and the name came from two stories I'm working on. One is a book called Her Father's Wooden Leg, and the other one is called I'm Not Wearing Any Pants. So Wooden Pants Publishing. And I was just going to do my work, but then some people came to me and said, I'd like to publish stuff with you. And I said, okay. And we started it on a part-time type of thing until 2016, where I went full-time, and then I got a lot more authors. And so I'd say half a dozen, maybe a little more in the publishing side. And then the media side came along when I started to do the podcasting. So now we're kind of Wooden Pants Publishing in media. And then there's a creative services side, which is editing and blogging and narrating and other things that are connected to the extension of the platform of your writing, the monetization of it.
Mm-hmm. So I have a question. How did you go from an IT guy to say, you know what, I'm going to be creative? Wow, that just didn't come out right. Yeah, so how did you do that? I mean, it's kind of weird. Most people think of IT people as staunchy and like nimbus people.
I was a journalism major, but I kept getting told that journalism didn't make money, but IT did. So I ended up doing IT out of, financial situation, financial, need. And that just grew. I mean, I just stuck with that rather than saying, yeah, I'm going to go back out into writing. I would just stick with that as I met my wife and we had kids and we moved and we had to buy houses and stuff like that. In 2015, my company said, we're changing everything and we're going to move the operations to 3 places. Either you're going to be able to go to Budapest, San Antonio, or the Philippines. I mean, you can reapply for those jobs if you want them, but they're not guaranteed. And then everybody started, but we'd like you to stay and help us with the transition. So what happened is 75% of the people left. We were stuck with the whole Megillah. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to do this because they weren't going to give me any severance pay or anything like that, even though I was there for 12 years. They said, see you later. And I said, well, forget it, I'm leaving. So it was a blessing in disguise that really kind of pushed me over and let my spirit kind of scream out and say, okay, you know what? This is the time. Let's go. Time to move out and start your life, with this program.
That's awesome.
Wow. It's just amazing how much you have grown from I'm IT to I'm going to be creative. And I love the genre. You pick science fiction, right?
Well, I do all genres. I do fiction, nonfiction, science fiction, thriller, romance, humor.
You do romance.
I do romance. In fact, I wrote a short story a long time ago that will, I hope, become a novella. It's called Cat in the Stroller. So it's one of those things that I've had to put on, that I put on the shelf that I shouldn't have put on the shelf, because I've been doing the publishing and it's been for everybody else, but I haven't taken some of that time back for me to do my work. And that's something that I have to return to this year, because that's how people will get to know me. I can say everything about writing, but when they come to me and say, well, you've only written this many books, I'm like, you're right. I have to own that, and I have to push it out.
Exactly. Awesome. So, I mean, you know, if it's more than 50 pages, you could just go ahead and publish it yourself. I'm joking. You're like, oh, no, that book is done. Book number 1. And it'd be like, book number 2 is coming soon. And then you've got a book out, so it works.
Right.
I wanted to say, like, it's just amazing to go from here to there. And then, first of all, I also want to ask, how do you write the women in your romance?
You know, I have 4 daughters. And
well, then
yeah. And then, funny enough, the majority of my friends and connections have been female as opposed to male. I'm not sure why, but I've always tended to be in that way. And I think it's because it's being a creative that you tend to flock to those who are creative, and the majority of creative people are female in many cases as opposed to male. If you look at the writers out there, a good many of them are female writers as opposed to male writers. So I think I draw from my female side in those cases. I have a number of, I wrote a short story anthology called Coffee Cup Tales, stories inspired by overheard conversations at the coffee shop. And there's a lot there, you hear a lot of romantic angst going on. So you get an idea of how the opposite sex may react to certain things. For example, listening, or I overheard a conversation at the table behind me at the coffee shop where they were talking about dates versus dating, and he was saying, well, we go on dates, and she went very coldly, there's a difference between dates and dating. I went, whoa, hold on, stop, let me write this down. I mean, it's hard to put into words how I do it. I just write it. I just write their, what their thoughts are, what their feelings are. They're not much different than guys in many cases. They have the same, we all have the same uncertainties. We all have the same fears about relationships. We all have that worry of, well, we got to do it all over again. And that's what I put into the female characters.
That's awesome. So we can actually relate to like Tales at the Coffee Shop. Maybe it's not Tales at the Coffee Shop, but a lot of our titles of And I Thought series come from sitting around talking to people or listening to people. You're like, you know what? That's a good point.
Yeah.
But growing up and thinking it was going to be easy to be an adult, adulting is hard.
Right.
So
yeah, that sort of thing. I just wanted to say I admire your ability to think about how a woman would respond, especially the dates versus dating thing. That's an awesome thing. And I oh my goodness, the stories you can come up from that. Just that sentence by itself. Just that sentence. So where can I find that book?
Well, it is.
I'm interested in that book.
By the way, Dates versus Dating is in that anthology, and it is available on Amazon. It is available in Kindle, and I am starting. It's one of those books that I haven't gotten into the bookstores yet or onto other venues, but it's a work in progress. It's on my list of things to do, and it's going to be in those as well. But there's a lot of humor to it. They were ideas that were inspired from all of these conversations and actions that took place. I have enough for the next book in the series, nor it's just sitting down and making that commitment to getting it done.
Awesome. I have one more question, Jay. I just want to check in with my co-host to make sure I'm not stealing. Because, narcissism, when it becomes real, the ego gets a little out of control.
I know. It's tough. It's all about you. It's all about me, and I love it.
Beginning lines, and I do the ends. I can allow you to have questions.
Yes! I get to be intelligent today. Anyway, my question is, so when you think about yourself in publishing, how do you think that you compare to like the big five?
Well, we do a couple of things differently than the big five. One, we work very hard to get your book out within a 4-month period, as long as you work with us, get the edits done and things like that. Sometimes if you sign a contract in November, it's very hard for us to get it out in December. We'll have to get it out in February or March or something like that. The other thing we do is we make sure you keep all of your copyrights. So if you don't want to do business with us anymore, you say, I don't want to do business with you anymore, and then we give you back everything that we have. We remove everything from the catalog. We don't force you to stay. And then the third thing we do is we ask for an upfront fee. We're not a vanity press. We handle editing, we handle formatting, we handle cover design. We do the distribution on all platforms, as many as we can. We do marketing as well. We ask you to market, but we do marketing as well. And when you pay that one-time fee up front, you keep all the royalties. So from any personal sales, from any sales online, from any sales at bookstores, it's all yours. We don't take anything from that to, cover our expenses. We're doing that already when you've paid the fee. And then we also offer, through that fee, we offer an installment so that we're not asking you for all this money up front. We're asking you as we go on. Then the other thing we do, and this is something new, is with our biggest package, which is the one that has the most expense to it, we give you the ability to publish a maximum of 3 books within that package within an 18-month period, which is in the contract. So there's a lot of difference to that as opposed to the big 5. We don't do advances. We don't do, these gigantic marketing campaigns and where your photo is on a placard in a bookstore. But our goal is to have our authors embrace their creative souls, invest in themselves, and publish their stories that they want to. The biggest problem I see with creative people and authors is they're not willing to invest in themselves. They're not ready to take the money that is required and putting it out there. And that's why in many cases people frown on the self-publishing industry at this moment. They see all this junk out there that's not properly edited, has a really crummy cover, not really formatted, and they don't do the marketing for it. And that can't work. If you are really, really serious about this, you have to consider it a business. And in addition to writing, you have to look and see, how is my book going to get there? How is my story going to get out there?
For the marketing trend, to go to both sides of you, the business side, the technical side, and the creative side, my question is, how do you think in the future that self-publishing is going to kind of equal itself out? Because every other thing has equaled itself out. And if it does equal itself out, where do you think publishers like yourself are going to land?
Wow. I think we're getting to the point of oversaturation, and there's going to be eventually what's going to happen is, the saying goes, the wheat is going to be separated from the chaff. And more people, as they go into Amazon and all these groups, are going to find the really good authors who want their books published. For me, what I'm going to have is, I'm not going to have a blockbuster. In fact, Joanna Penn of the Creative Pen was talking about maybe the era of the big blockbuster book is over, like the 50 Shades of Grey or something like that, because there's so many authors out there. What you're going to get is really good stories, and they're going to be consistent, and people are going to be able to make money off of them. So with me, what's going to happen is, it's going to be myself and a couple of other people and a couple of other groups out there who are going to be the next stage in publishing, which is, it's going to be a hybrid. It's going to, not a hybrid, but it's going to be, look, you want to invest, you have to pay. This is not a free thing. I mean, we have to do this stuff. We have to pay for, if we want it in Ingram, we have to pay for the ISBN. We have to pay for the formatting. If you want it in, you want it in a Kirkus review, that's $200. Mm-hmm. We need some assistance from this. And you really want to sit back for 6 months and say, oh, I haven't gotten any money in? Or do you want to invest in yourself so that we can prep for you so that when the book comes out, that there's already stuff there? We have an author who we did pre-orders for, we promoted, she promoted. We, granted, it's not a huge amount, but she's, a couple of dozen books after ebooks after her release of her romance is, a pretty good amount. I mean, it was just released last week, so we've had almost 50 downloads or 50 purchases of it. So that's where we're going to be. We're going to be looking for authors who are ready to invest in themselves and see it as a business, and that they have to help us down the line. So if they see something they want to use for marketing, they need to tell us so that we can use it as well.
So do you think that hybrids will be the next big five, pretty much is what you're saying?
I think that a lot of authors who have been part of big publishers will start pulling out as they see the market changing, and either go to the self-publish and go self-publishing or go to those smaller presses. We already see some of those guys do it. I can't really think of it. A lot of people are now doing that. They're in the big five, but they're also producing stuff on their own name because the tools are there and it's getting better each time. Every year or every month, it gets better to fine-tune the way a book looks.
And do you think that you will ever come to the point where you see an author and you like them so much that you will actually be like, all right, I can take on the funds and I'll do this one myself as a passion project, or you'll have a division that might do that in your publishing company?
There may come a point when I have the funds available, I think. Like, for example, there is a lady here. We are going to do a book for her. She did a poetry book for us, but she got into an accident and the car was totaled. She had surgery. So the second book that comes out, I already told her, yeah, we'll be doing that on our own. I mean, we'll be handling the expenses for that. But right now that's kind of limited. It depends on what I see. It depends on what goes on. It may be something where we do have a contest and say, yes, we're going to publish this for you without any fees.
My egotism got the better.
I was like, so you're going to be publishing an
anti-thought, ladies. Did I make more gorgeous? Anyway,
we can talk later.
We had to do it. I think our audience was expecting it. They were like, no, seriously, they're going to do it at any moment. So we had
So what can an author expect?
So you said, I'm sorry, I have to. You said
my time apparently is up. So
you are the voice of audiobooks. So was that one of the packages that you have for your people?
That is an option for audiobooks. I don't put it in the package because the prices can vary greatly. On one hand, they can say, I want to read it, or I want you to read it. And then I have the great, beautiful microphone and the audio stuff that I can do and upload it without, it's not a lot. The fee is not as much. But if they want somebody to narrate it, well, yeah, you're looking at a big price jump because they're going to want a couple of $1,000s for narration, and rightly so. It is.
Mm-hmm. It's hard work.
It is hard work. There's a lot to do. You're talking for all this time. You're reading the work. You're doing it over.
You pretty much writing that script. You gotta almost write it as a script in order to get it, when you do a story, to get it correct, to make sure.
Right. Exactly. And so there's a lot to it. And the people who do the audiobooks, what they do is great. I mean, I did professional voice work training at Edge Studios in New York, which is one of the top ones out there. And it's hard. You have to learn. I had to relearn stuff like talking through my diaphragm instead of my throat, and pausing at the right spaces, and not talking very fast as my East Coastiness allows me to.
We understand that we're from the East Coast. So
yeah. So it's a lot. It's a big challenge. Sorry, I got itches all of a sudden. It's a big challenge to to do that. So I do consider it, and it is something that's very important now. If you think about what you do on a regular basis, whether you're walking or driving or something like that, you have sound on. And audiobooks are that wave, that next wave, and eventually there'll be a little more to those, that they may be productions in general instead of just narration. There may be sound effects connected to them or background music. And that's why I have it as a separate package, because there's so much involved. In fact, I'm talking to one of my authors today about audiobooks and what she wants to do in that. So it's the future. That's part of the future. So it may come to the point where you're going to get a book, but the big seller is going to be the audiobook. And the market also has to change, because right now you can't have an audiobook unless you have a book on Amazon. You have to go through the Amazon, their audio exchange. Yep. And in order to get them on, you have, and from there it goes on to Amazon and it goes on to iTunes. But you have to have a book in Amazon. So one of the things I'm hoping in the future that changes is there's a little more choice available than just big guy Amazon, and it separates out a little bit.
That would be very nice.
That would be
but
awesome.
I think Amazon got into the book game, revolutionized the book game. So I think they are the one now. So it's kind of like, I think that game is over for a while.
Right.
A while before anyone catches up. Well, I've enjoyed immensely.
Yes. And so where can people find you?
Okay. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. You can go to the main Wooden Pants Publishing and Media site at woodenpantspub.com. We have a Facebook page that is also Wooden Pants Pub, and our Twitter handle is at Wooden Pants Pub. If you want to subscribe to our podcast, The Daily Author, The Leap, and The Frustrated Entrepreneur, you can do so at blogtalkradio.com, and then you search for Wooden Pants Network. You also want to go to tunein.com/Wooden Pants Network to subscribe, and I'm hoping very soon to get on iTunes and so many of those other outlets. You can find my books, the Thinking Inside My Box and Coffee Cup Tales. You can go to Amazon.com for those, as well as Kindle, and I believe they are also on Kobo and Nook. I'm not too sure. And the all the books of Wooden Pants Publishing are available through your local bookstores, as well as Kobo and Nook and Kindle, and very soon on iTunes. Finally figured out after forever how to get those books on iTunes or iBooks. If you are interested in making a gift to the Frustrated Entrepreneur campaign, which helps us with the production of the book and also supporting Wooden Pants Pub, you go to gofundme.com/frustrated entrepreneur. And with that, once we raise $9,000, we donate $1,000 to another entrepreneur. And let's see what else. If you want to be on any of our shows, please feel free to go to woodenpantspub.com. Go to the Daily Author, Between the Pages, The Leap, and soon we'll have a form for the Frustrated Entrepreneur for you to appear on the program. That's it.
You got that all like a champ.
Fantastic. You did that like a champ.
Thank you.
So, just so I can display my wonderful abilities to do the same.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's bad over here.
Woo,
it's
the
bad.
narcissism. The narcissism.
I don't even know how she does this every week, actually, now. Wow. I'm sorry. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to try to wrap up because she got to do the beginning, and I never do this well. So hang in there with me.
I'm already laughing about him, so yeah. Go ahead.
My not cute look today. I'm blaming the wardrobe people, by the way.
No, okay.
All right. So we are the co-founders and co-hosts of the And I Thought Ladies Speaking Group. The And I Thought book series is the co-author, and we are the co-host of the And I Thought Ladies show. How am I doing, Jade?
Mm-hmm.
Yes! Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Killing it. Anyway. So we have the books out, and I thought divorce was bad, and I thought being grown up was easy, and I thought I could juggle it all, and I thought I did my journey alone. And lastly, we have the book, and I thought I had it all figured out. And we also have the CD, and I thought the poetry compilation, and all of this could be found on andwethought.com. You can buy it there if you want to have any of that written with your nice little name and doctor script. That's what I call it because I can't write well. That's why computers were invented, people.
For people like me, and for old people like her, the typewriter.
Wow. I'm gonna come back on that, but off air. Anyway, so I'm gonna end with our wonderful tagline that wisdom is all around you.
If you're open to accepting it and finding it. So peace and love from Jade
and Winona. By the way, Jade, you messed that up. Bye-bye, you guys.